What's going on? My name is Tyson Mcguffin. This is the Mcguffin Show. We're on episode 22 here. Living the dream in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Orlando PPA, amateurs not being happy about the rain, all the rain taking place. Also going to talk about US Open Finals, Seahawks, APP, ATL this weekend. This gentleman named Chet Subaru, I have no idea who that guy is, but he kicked my ass over the weekend. And Meg is due any day. It could be any minute, it could be any hour. So we are patiently waiting here in the studio.
So I might have to take over the podcast.
Watch out. And we're going to talk about Drake's new album called Certified Lover Boy. K-Mac, what's up, buddy?
How's it going, man?
You know, it's going.
It's going. I'm jealous, man. You got to go to Orlando and be on the tennis channel. That's a big deal for the sport.
Live on the tennis channel. Historic moment.
Congrats,
moment
by the way. Good
PB.
Good tournament.
Too bad Ben also kicked my ass.
Yeah, what's he doing there?
Ben, just get out of pickleball.
Stay home.
I mean, for God's sake.
Be an engineer already. Come on.
Right. Use that bright brain of yours. Had all the top dudes there. Played at the USTA training campus. Super cool. I guess Madison Keys is very consistent with training there, and there's a lot of U.S. Americans that both men and women that train out of there. But killer venue. I don't know how many tennis courts there are, but there's plenty. High-level juniors train out of there. Pro tennis players train out of there. And you have all the high-level tennis stuff. While we were there was like a USTA sectional event going on. So they have USTA league stuff going on in there. I would assume any sort of tennis event can take place there. But they had paddle tennis. They had 10 and under tennis courts. They had dedicated pickleball courts. They had a little cafe. All the players were using the cafe, obviously during the rain delays, but the cafe kind of cool. They had a bunch of TVs and stuff, so we could watch pro tennis and check all that out. But killer venue.
How was the turnout? Were there quite a few fans? People kind of roaming the grounds there a little bit? Or?
Yeah, I would say there probably not until Championship Sunday.
Okay, picked up a little.
Yeah, picked up a bit more. As we all know, on that Thursday, we call it Singles Ghost Thursday, baby. Singles Ghost Thursday. There's not a soul there.
If singles wasn't lonely enough, right?
Everybody's burning, right. If singles wasn't lonely enough, everybody's burning the gas tank, and there's not a soul there to watch. It's kind of funny. There's this gal. Her name's Nancy. What is Nancy's last name? I can't remember. Anyhow, Nancy was in my camp in Orlando 3 years ago. And she's been to a couple of other tournaments, and she always brings a cowbell. And
nice.
Actually, who was there over the weekend, and she was there on Thursday, and she was cheering her man on. Nancy, if you're watching this podcast episode, you were a badass, and I truly appreciated that cowbell all weekend. It was loud, it was very obnoxious.
Gotta have more cowbell.
Gotta have more cowbells.
Could use a little more cowbell.
Nancy was working that cowbell. She was. But, It was hot, and apparently, with it still being summer in September there in Orlando, it generally tends to rain, late afternoon, and so, it was brutally hot all 4 days. It was super humid and was extremely hot, and with all that came some rain. But yeah, Orlando, killer venue. We definitely had some fans on Championship Sunday, and obviously to have Tennis Channel there was super cool. K-Mac, if you were watching, it was kind of cool to the intro or the entrance or the beginning of each match. They had the players like walk out of the locker rooms. They had the camera crew right there.
Nice.
Like they had you kind of walk in out of the locker rooms like onto the court. So it was kind of cool.
I was wondering, how long it would be before, the Tennis Channel would pick up some pickleball, just because so many people have, they're big into pickleball now, started with a tennis background, and there's so much crossover. I'm glad to see it's going in the right direction.
Yeah. So definitely historic day for pickleball. It had rained on that Sunday. It rained from like noon to 2, and the women's singles were supposed to start at noon, and so that got pushed back.
But it went women's singles, men's doubles, women's doubles, men's singles, and then mixed. My match, unfortunately, my mother was not very happy about this. Her youngest boy finally got to be seen on the tennis channel, and only about a game and a half was live, and then they cut it out and turned to the men's tennis match.
U.S. Open coverage. Yeah. Too bad.
Did a little replay.
Darn rain.
But the mixed, unfortunately, did not get any of their match on tennis channel, and so it was live on YouTube and live on the PPA Facebook page. Yeah, super cool. I think there's a lot of people that definitely tuned in. Looking at the camera angles and the camera production, it was very, very high level.
Yeah.
Some of the close-ups, some of the graphics, they added in some stats. They did a good job with the player interviews when I was there for singles on Thursday. They had a couple of the top players meet at the venue and work with a videographer and do some fun interviews that the Tennis Channel could use. So I was happy to be a part of that.
And I think that's a pretty big deal. I remember a couple years ago, Nationals, watching you. I think you played Lung in the finals of the singles where ESPN had the coverage. And, you hear the criticism of, people within the pickleball world saying, well, how fun is it to watch, on TV? And I think when you get the higher level cameras like the ESPN and the Tennis Channel, I think that gives you a slice of what it could be, right?
Yeah.
Which is really exciting because it really, when the production value is better, it heavily, to me, improves the watching experience for us at home.
Yeah. And one camera in particular that was super cool, there was a dude with this little device and he was moving his camera around, but it was like a bird's eye view camera from the kitchen, and he was able to move it. And so that's the first time in pickleball where I've seen bird's eye, obviously, from the baseline. That's the most mainstream view that we see. It really doesn't do pickleball justice when you see it from that view. It's tough to see the art and dinking, and tough to see the spin and things like that. And so, yeah, for the Tennis Channel to kind of have that wide angle bird's eye kind of moving around and floating, and then with the close-ups, with the player close-ups, I thought it was a nice little touch. They also had, it was kind of cool, they had this camera moving laterally right behind the court, and it moved side to side, and it was very consistent. Anyhow, there's just a lot going on, and I thought they did a very good job of highlighting the production in a much higher level way. So I ended up flying in Monday night. Flew there with my wife and Banks. Got there Monday night, got all checked into the hotel, practiced Tuesday, Wednesday. I have to tell this story. So Tuesday, it's brutally hot, and, Share Bear, or I call him Sherbert. Sherbert is usually my go-to dude. Like I mentioned in episode 21, I like to, if it's a tier 1 or a tier 2 and it's Championship Sunday, it's always the same format. Singles is Thursday, mixed doubles is Friday, and then genders on Saturday. So I usually show up Monday night, train Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll play singles Tuesday morning. I'll play singles Wednesday morning. I'll try to get a double session in Tuesday afternoon. So could not get a dub session in Tuesday. So I just played with Sherry. We played a little later in the day because we thought we'd try to test our lungs and test our physique in the extreme temperatures. Anyhow,
how'd that go?
We ended up playing from 11 to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and within 15 minutes, I'd already sweated through my shorts, and my socks are dripping wet. Anyhow, after about an hour and a half, Sherry is hyperventilating and choking on his lung. I was seeing stars. Anyhow, after that first session, we're stretching on the side of the court, and we're talking about where we're gonna do cryotherapy or where we're gonna get an IV or whatever. Anyhow, as I'm sitting there stretching, having a conversation with Sherry, I was seeing stars, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, gosh, it's gonna be a long freaking weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, if it stays this hot, it's going to be a very long weekend. Luckily, woke up Wednesday, practiced Wednesday morning, felt a lot better. It's always just that first day. It's always that first day, and it's getting comfortable with suffering and just getting comfortable with how much you're going to sweat, how hot it's going to be, how slow the ball is going to be. But once you swallow all that down and you kind of understand where you're at and what you're going to put your body through,
that's why I think it's
tends to get a little easier.
Yeah, it's so important to have the professional routine like you have, because the conditions are always just a little bit different at each location, and if you can get acclimated, it just gives you a much bigger advantage. Now I know I don't think it's comfortable for anybody playing in the hot, muggy conditions, but you put such pride in your fitness. Do you feel like when you're in those conditions, it gives you a little bit of an edge, or do you feel like an extra bit of confidence when you're going against against people that you feel like you are just the fitter athlete?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's why I do the stuff in the gym, is because I can go to these venues where it's extremely hot or it's humid, and I can trust my fitness. I can trust playing well in those longer matches. I can trust the fitness, and I think. With going to locations like that, with it being humid, the ball slowed down a lot more. The points are a little scrappier. There's a lot more defense, and so with that, you're playing longer points. Yeah. I definitely keep that in my back pocket.
So how did you feel? So played Thursday singles.
Yep.
I can't remember who you played in the early rounds. Any
Actually, let's definitely mention somebody. Spencer Smith, to talk about a guy with some upside, just beat Ben at Ben's not gonna like me saying that, but just beat Ben at TOC in a backdrop match, beat him 16-14, and then played me in the bronze. I beat him in 3, so I played him again in the winners bracket quarter, beat him in 3. It was 11-8 in the third, and I would say if there's one thing that I see differently about Spencer's game, he's just much more athletic. Like, he's moving better.
He's extending points a little bit more.
He's coming in a lot more too. I mean, shoot, for the first year and a half that I was playing him in singles, he was staying back. He was hitting a return and staying back.
Completely like tennis, yeah.
All you viewers should know that yes, you can stay back to a certain degree, but it is so much easier to defend at the net than it is just to stay back and try to put on a highlight reel and pass off your back foot. I mean, there has to be some other ways to kind of work around that. But anyhow, I mean, Spencer for the first year and a half tried to stay back and just pass, and I mean, he was still beating plenty of good people and plenty of guys kind of in that top 10. But I think what he's soon found out is that it takes a lot of pressure off of his passing shots, it takes a lot of pressure off of his offense if he can come in on the return and just stick a few volleys, and be able to have some variety with his volleys. And so, it just kind of seemed like over the last, 6 months or so, he's coming in a lot more. He's coming in quicker. Seems like he's very athletic at the net. He's able to use his hands. He used the dump volley well against me. I would try to pass. He would volley and kind of move me around. And then when I dropped, he was able to kind of use a little soft dumpy volley off of my drop. Anyhow, it kept me honest, kept me moving laterally, but also kind of kept me honest with that short one. So I think he's playing a lot better.
Well, I think so. I've played Spencer a couple times, and he's beat me pretty handily both times. So I've been impressed with his game. I was always frustrated because this was about 6 months ago, and I was expecting him to return and stay back, and he didn't. He came in to me, and I'm like, well, crap, why don't you do this against everybody?
It's a different Spencer.
No, for sure. But I think it's one of those things where his doubles game has come along a lot in the last 6 months to a year. And some of the shots you're talking about, being able to play the dump volley and use a little bit more touch, doubles can help your singles game. Singles can help your doubles game. They both really do help each other in a variety of ways. And so it's good to see him on the scenes and kind of using the ability. I'd heard a rumor like 6 months ago, that people were saying that he had said, well, he thought maybe he was done with singles, which I thought was definitely too early given
for sure.
what he brings to the table, as a singles player. And he was a very, very accomplished high-level tennis player, as far as I know. So
I heard that in juniors he was like top 20 in the country in boys 18s. I believe he played number 1. I could be totally wrong. I'm pretty sure he played number 1 for BYU.
Yeah,
but
I know him and Loong battled in juniors back and forth.
Yeah,
and as far as I know, Spencer, at least in singles, always got the better of Loong. So
in tennis.
Tennis,
for sure. I think he was a better tennis player for sure. Yeah. I actually just spent some time with Loong during a rain delay in Orlando and talked to that man for a while. Interesting cat, but always like my conversation.
He's a sharp guy.
He is a very sharp guy. A fun little fact that you guys probably don't know about Spencer Smith is that he used to go to festivals, and I used to go to festivals, and I know.
I did not know that. All right.
And Rob Nunnery is going to appreciate this, but something that Spencer told me was "rave to the grave, baby." That was one of his lines. Rave to the grave.
Life motto.
He used to stomp the dance floor, stomp it down. Huh?
Oh, I feel like I feel like I need to see this.
I need to see. I told Nunnery, I'm like, I need to see that man's feet working on the dance floor. I need to see it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Huh?
You can tell he's got just a little chip on his shoulder. I love to see that. I love to see that.
But rave to the grave.
Rave to the grave.
Yeah, we were like messaging back and forth on Instagram, and we're talking about festivals and stuff, and he had used that phrase, and I could not swallow that down. It was too funny. Yeah, rave to the grave.
I think we have to start hanging out with Spencer.
Spency.
We got to see the other side off the court.
Spency, the dangerous man.
No, you said Nunnery. Was Nunnery a...
No.
Okay.
I don't know how Nunnery got involved.
That one would have been harder for me to see, but
no. Talking about Nunnery, if you guys get a chance, check out the Freestyle Boys podcast on Spotify, and they're actually starting to do some of their podcast filmed, and they have like 1 or 2 episodes on Ben's YouTube channel.
He's written a couple of articles about kind of the challenges of the pro game.
He's done a very good job talking about the expenses.
Good suggestions on changes that could be made. So if you haven't, give those a read. He's a very, very sharp and articulate person. And
he mentioned that on his Instagram and on his Facebook page. So yeah, definitely check that out. Trying to think. Yeah, so or just talking about Orlando again. So played singles on that Thursday. Jay had beat me the last 2 times that we played in singles. So, over the last couple of weeks that I've been home training, I've definitely kept that in the back of my head. Made sure to kind of continue ticking by, I think that definitely helps me train and definitely helps me stay motivated at home, is keeping losses in the back of my head. Just kind of, help me stay hungry, help me get in the gym a little quicker, give me some more motivation when I'm, in rec play or whatever. But lost to Jay the last 2 times and lost to him in 3. Lost a heartbreaker at the Newport Takea Showcase. Lost 11-8 in the 3rd. And this particular time, played really well. Ended up winning the first game 11-4. And then I'm down 1-7 game 2. I think I brought it back to... I don't know, like 3-7 or something like that. And then we had a rain delay. After the rain delay, I brought my best stuff. Found the forehand, served. K-Mac, I don't know if you looked at my serve, but it's a little different.
I was going to say, it seems like you changed your open stance.
Is
it just on the left?
No. Both on the right, on the left. Okay. So why is because I felt like with my stance being closed, also too, I'm just trying to just add a bit more to my game. Keep trying to be innovative and add some more tools and obviously not stop learning. But so I just felt like with my close stance, my weight was going to my left and I wasn't able to get the right shape that I was looking for.
Gotcha.
And yes, I've been serving okay, but I felt like I could get better shape, I could get better depth if I can add in some more hips. And so just with my stance being closed on the serve, I felt like my right hip was a little limited because after I served, my right foot actually would like come back behind me and would actually end up back behind my body, and so all my weight was going to my left. And so I'm watching film and I'm watching myself play, and I just realized that I'm really not like accelerating my right hip on my serve, and most of my weight is going to my left. So the next day at practice, ended up going out, opening up my stance, still have the platform effect. I'm not moving my feet. My feet are very stationary, but I'm starting with my hand position and my tossing arm obviously off to my right. My hips are facing at the box. And then from there, I'm just getting like a little coil and then I'm exploding that right hip. What I found out is that I'm able to get better shape. I'm able to get better height. Granted, I'm not hitting it as big. It doesn't have as much pace.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
But it's dancing a bit more. It's got some more shape. And I think from a serving standpoint, viewer tip, it's not about how much pace is on your serve. It's about the location and it's about the activity when it bounces. And so with what I'm seeing with my open stance serve, I'm seeing more activity. I'm seeing more dance and more kick up. And with that, it's coming with just a lot more height, and so it's forcing the returner to have to take a half volley. It's not as predictable, and it's getting up in some uncomfortable spots on the returner, in which when I was serving in a close stance, it was just kind of staying down and it wasn't jumping up.
It was more flat. Do you feel like you're able to hit all the spots a little better?
Yeah.
I was going to say, for me, who I'm a little bit more closed, I know when I'm serving on the right, the more challenging serve for me is to serve out wide.
Yeah,
because it's
you have to catch it early.
More of a rotation.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
So you feel like you lose some power or some consistency in that twist. So yeah, it just shows that there's not one way. That's what we teach. We're always experimenting, making changes. Sometimes in my case, making changes and realizing that was bad and going back to Old Faithful. Abort! But if you're not trying to be innovative, with the sport as young as pro pickleball, you might be left behind.
Continue trying new things because we've only found a little slice of this game. There is so much more out there that everybody's trying to find.
Yeah, I've said it for a while. I mean, the game 5 years from now, I'm sure it's going to look similar in a way, but it's going to look dramatically different in a few areas, and just we don't know exactly what that's going to be yet. But I guarantee you, there's going to be some major tactical. The way people win is going to be a little bit different 5 years from now than it is today, just like it was different 5 years ago from the way it is now.
It's true. Something I talked about, Cal. Don't know if you watched Gucci Z beat up on everybody at APP Chicago, but did you see what his damage did to Michelle Esquivel in that gain to 15? Well, I
didn't actually watch it, but I read on the forum there was a post about it, so I read some of the stats and that she really struggled just even getting the return back in play.
She was not happy about it, and she...
and I saw her comment on it. It seemed like she's a big fan of.
She is not a believer. She's not a believer in the old chainsaw.
And I've been on the fence about it. I'll be honest. Maybe lately I've started.
Zing.
Lately I've added it in my game, and maybe I'm biased now. But it's a lot of fun. I've just used it a couple of times. So I was playing with Leia yesterday and used it, and I will say this. It is way more of an advantage and a weapon to me in singles than doubles, because if you can get your opponent moving laterally and getting their weight moving side to side, singles, where it's so important to get a good return, get your weight moving through contact and getting, close to the net by the time you have to hit your first volley. If you're a couple steps slower, it just increases the size of the target for the server hitting passing shots just dramatically. So I actually had a lot of fun. It's something I've just barely started using in my game, but if you know which way the ball's going to break and you can have it break a little bit, you can really, I like how it increases the mind games out there. You can start it one way, knowing that it's either going to break into your opponent's body and jam them, or you can serve it to the same location, have it break the other way, and push them off the court. So if this is continued to be allowed, I think as people master it, as they're able to do a lot more with it, I think it's really going to change the landscape of singles for sure, because if you're off balance, it might not be, even if you want to return and get to the net, you might not have that luxury if you're so far off the court. So like I said, I see both sides. I've been on the fence about it for a long time, but I do like how it complicates. It complicates the patterns just enough to where I think that extra variety is more enjoyable to compete in, and I think adding that extra variety is more enjoyable to watch and to game plan against. I don't know. You've been playing against it for a while. I don't know if we'll see the Tyson Mcguffin serve variation adding a little side kick or not. But I feel like I got to get out there and show you what I've been doing. I think it would help, man.
I have not been a believer, but if it's gonna help me. If it's going to help me beat some of the top dogs, I would not be opposed to it, that's for sure.
Definitely give you a bigger target on that forehand if you can get it working.
Right, exactly. Also, too, on that singles day, we saw our girl Leia Jansen from Spokane. She ended up... so Callie Smith, actually, Callie's first or second round match, she plays Simone. Mm-hmm. And beat Simone 8-7.
Yeah.
And I know Leia was a little worried because nobody has seen Simone play singles for, I don't know, a couple months.
Yeah,
So-
she hasn't played the last few for a little
Yeah,
bit.
so Leia kind of figured that she was going to be on her side. Well, Callie ends up beating Simone, and then Leia ends up beating Callie, and she beats Callie pretty handily. And so, obviously, Leia ended up playing the finals on Sunday. And then, let's see here, Friday was mixed. I ended up playing with Callie Smith. Callie and I ended up losing 8-7 to Matt and Lucy. Won a couple in the back draw, and then we're playing AJ, Kohler, and Leia, and we're up big early. It was like 7-1, and then 11-7, 13-11, and I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely one of those weekends where I did not perform my best late in games, and I always preach about playing my best, late in games and bringing that little extra, and bringing the intensity, bringing the competitiveness, and just being bold in late in games, in those moments, in those pressure scenarios, and I just did not play well late in games, honestly, and that particular match, it was totally on me. I ended up like missing a dink at 13-11, sped up at 13-12. It's funny how you remember all the yucky stuff that you did late in games, and I never remember anything positive that I've done late in games. It's always just the foul stuff.
Just the error.
But yeah,
here,
definitely
there.
missed the dink at 13-11. Definitely sped up, and the speed up went out at 13-12, brought to 13-all. And I don't know what happened after that, but who played great was AJ Kohler. Leia played awesome. AJ played a lot of court, and AJ's other nickname is Chet Subaru, his alter ego, also known as the tournament shirt guy. There is multiple photos on his Chet Subaru Instagram page. Please go follow Chet Subaru, by the way. The guy is a character.
Yeah, where can they find that? Do you know where they can find that? I've watched
so
the little Chet Subaru
look
intro
at Chet Subaru is AJ's alter ego. So there is a YouTube video that highlights him as a player, Chet Subaru, and pretty funny. He's got this like red, white, and blue headband on. He's got a mustache, and his hair's all. He's got a
greasy mullet.
Yeah, he's got like this disgusting wig on, and these khaki shorts, and these old like Skechers shoes that are all beat up. He's playing left-handed.
Right. Barking at people for taking his ball. He's going to playing rec play and just being that that typical. That typical that I think probably just about everybody has in their group. A player who's decent but thinks they're about 5 levels higher than they actually are, and they're always complaining about taking their ball. But it's a pretty good. It's
my forehand. Stay away from it.
It's a pretty good laugh, and if you know AJ, one of the nicest guys on tour as well.
He is. He's for sure.
There's
a video after Championship Sunday, and Chet Subaru is caught in action taking the Orlando Cup trophy and running out to the parking lot with it. He's got his headband on. Right. He's got his pad on his left hand. Watch out!
Steals the trophy from somebody and gets the heck out of it.
But what I was going to say is that there's multiple photos, and this is what makes AJ just a complete legend. There's multiple photos on AJ's Instagram page, not Chet Subaru, AJ's Instagram page. And it's at APP events, and it's him on the podium with the actual APP tournament shirt on. I mean, when you play your medal match, or I guess when you play the whole day, if you're a pro player and you play the whole day in the tournament shirt, I mean, you are a complete legend. And
most of us, after a while, probably never once wear our shirts.
I mean,
they go straight into the garbage after you've accumulated about 10 of them. What are you going to do with more? But
AJ just adds that.
He's found a way. He's found a way to get some use out of it.
Adds that to his wardrobe. But AJ in that particular match in mixed lobbed really well, used his hands very well, scrambled well. I mean, honestly, there wasn't a whole lot. He didn't do well. They actually ended up making a great run. They made the bronze medal match. They're up 11-8, 10-6 against Matt, Wright and Lucy Kovalova, and I'm gonna say they got Matt Wright. Okay, I'm gonna say they got Matt Wright. I'm gonna tread lightly here.
They got lawyered.
I'm gonna tread lightly here because I've had a couple run-ins with that man, but so I'm just gonna say this: to start the day out on Saturday, all the referees when they were doing their referee spiel to start the match and they were given all the instructions, they specifically said, be sure not to interrupt or to stop the point while it's going. So that was like a message that all the referees said to each team Saturday morning. And it all stemmed from in that mixed bronze match, Mr. Wright called the hindrance call because AJ grunted. And then there was another time where Matt and Lucy stopped play because AJ was at the kitchen line and he's hitting overheads, and Matt and Lucy are back at the baseline defending those overheads. And somebody stopped the point and said that the ball didn't bounce. And so there was two particular times in that match. A hindrance call was called because AJ grunted apparently, and then another one because they were back defending and the ball did not come up.
Do you know after he stopped play what the referees did? Did they allow that to just be played again?
Yeah, that's where it gets very interesting. Okay. And the interesting thing is that the match was not filmed, or the match was not streamed. So not really nobody saw what occurred. It was just obviously the people in the stands that actually witnessed everything. But let's just say that the referee got grinded down a little bit and forced him to kind of maybe let somebody manage the match.
Yeah.
I
certainly wouldn't want to be the referee in that situation.
Oh, gosh, no.
And I haven't even watched the play, just heard about it. But to me, it just seems like you can't allow a player to stop the point in the middle of the point when you're in a defensive position. I mean, you got to just maybe make a judgment call after the point's been played out. And it sounds like that's why they tried to clean that up for the next day.
But yes, it was not streamed, and so nobody got to witness a match online. And I guess watching it live was something to witness, if you know what I mean. But and let's see here. So men's and women's doubles was on that Saturday. AJ Kohler again ended up playing him and J-Dub in the winner's bracket quarter, and we're up, we're cruising. We're up 11-6, 9-7. Match or game slips out of our hands in game 2. They ended up winning game 2, 10-12 or something like that. We're up 9-6 in game 3. Every stinking doubles match that I had every doubles match that I lost this weekend, I was up. And it just seemed like I could not win big matches in doubles, if you know what I mean. It was just one of those weekends. But we're up 9-6 game 3 against J-Dub and AJ. And in that particular match, I'm pretty sure AJ lobbed us anywhere from 10 to 15 times. And the guy was just a lob slut.
Bringing the lob back.
Jeez Louise. I mean, our shorts were down at our ankles the whole time. I mean, AJ, this guy disguised his speed up the line extremely well, which kept Rye honest and which probably put Rye in a position where he wasn't ready for the lob. And on top of that, not only was he, speeding up line and holding the speed up, but he would also take that same look and he would lob cross court. And I mean, probably 10 to 15 lobs that were all pretty close to the baseline. And he used the same type of lob in the men's final and did it very, very successfully.
It's kind of cool. It seems like the last few tournaments, a few players have showed that
that lob.
You can still use it.
They all got it from Callan Dawson.
Yep. Yeah, he's the pioneer of
the men's the old Dawson lob. Okay, well, I think the Dawson signature.
The lob's been a play in mixed, right? And that's been used
sure.
or indoors a little bit more, but they're starting to prove it can be used even against two very athletic guys if you're thinking about the right location. I mean, I'm a big fan of that cross court lob.
Yeah,
when you're on the right side. Was he mostly playing the right when you guys?
He kind of played. He played both sides, but primarily on the right. It kind of got to a point where at the end of game 3, since I wasn't able to get anything out of AJ dinking cross court, we had to isolate J-Dub. So here we are going totally against what our main strength is, which is keeping me on the right, having me grind somebody out cross court. Once we get a ball that I can work with, I can speed up, or I can maybe give them some bait and have them speed up at ride, where I can beat them head to head. Right. Well, we had to go against plan A, and so now we're trying to isolate J-Dub. J-Dub is in front of me. Riley's dinking cross court with J-Dub. And, we ended up losing 9-11 game 3. But J-Dub played extremely well. AJ played out of his head. And honestly, AJ was like the player of the weekend for me. I mean, played well in mixed, played well in men's, showed that he belonged. Seemed like he had confidence in the big moments, played extremely well on the big points, and not only did he bring the offense, but he scrambled well. And I think with that partnership, if you're playing with J-Dub, J-Dub is young. He doesn't talk a whole lot. Socially, he's just a little quiet. So it seemed like AJ did a great job being the leader, dictating not only the energy, but the tactics and the general strategy kind of in that partnership. So he played well, man. He played well.
Yeah, everybody's been
Kohler.
Everybody's been talking about J-Dub, obviously, after his TOC win. And he's obviously improved a ton, and he's very young. But to me, in the last year, AJ's probably the most improved player, especially because he improved already being in his 30s. You know what I mean? It wasn't go from 18 to 19 where you expect that big leap forward. A lot of people get really stagnant after they're already that age. And he's, established himself as a consistent top player. And I don't think he was that level a year ago. I played against him a couple of times, and he seems like a completely different player now.
Yeah, for sure. So kudos to those guys. Those guys ended up playing.
They made the finals.
Wright and Johns in the finals, lost in 3. It's kind of interesting. Championship Sunday, women's singles finished in 3, men's doubles finished in 3, and then men's singles, unfortunately, it's the same freaking story, finished in 3. So out of the 5 finals on that Sunday, 3 of them all finished in 3. Women's final, it was awesome to see the Waters get their first PPA title, and it was great to see them get a win over Lucy and Simone. I'm not going to say a whole lot, but I believe that partnership is going to be a little different next year. So we'll see what happens with that. But ANYDAY played great. They obviously isolated Lee in that match. That's what they generally do. Yeah. And I thought Lee did a great job of, she was slicing well across court. She was able to use her two-handed backhand speed up. She used her hands great. ANYDAY inserted herself at the right time. But particularly, I thought that obviously Lee was kind of the X factor in that scenario. She's going to see the most balls. And it kind of seemed like Lee believed they could do it that day, and she did a lot of things well on the left side.
Yeah, it seemed like she found that balance of patience and aggression really, really well, and just kind of let ANYDAY be the phenom that she is for certain stretches. So, I thought they played really, really well. I wouldn't have put them as the favorite in that one, so credit to them for pulling through.
Yeah, for sure. I think Duper had... I think Duper had Simone and Lucy winning like 65% or something like that, or 70%.
Sounds about right.
It's kind of cool. They show that little Duper radar, but Ben was projected. Ben was like 75% against me, something like that. So
you can't feel too bad about that.
No. But it's nice to kind of see that algorithm, and it's cool to see some of the graphics that they're doing behind the data. And
did they have that shown on the tennis channel coverage?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
So they showed the Duper graphics and some of the analytics and some of the winning scales and stuff like that. So it was cool. Cool to see that. see here.
People are going to need that for the sports betting that's going to start, and I'm not sure exactly when that's going to.
I think it starts Texas Open. I could be wrong though.
Okay.
Yeah. So it had rained on that Saturday. We were not able to finish most of the matches that were supposed to be played, and I know in particular that the PPA has been taking some abuse by the amateurs for canceling the event on that Saturday. I don't know all the details behind it, but I know that the PPA obviously canceled that day. I don't know if there was refunds, but the PPA is taking some heat right now on the forum over,
the way they handled
the rain and the scheduling and stuff like that. So be kind of interesting to see what happens there. At the end of the day, obviously, these tours don't have control over the rain. Nobody has control over the weather. But,
how did it work for amateurs as far as watching the pro level matches? Did they have access to that by participating, or did they have to? I know some tournaments some you've had to purchase an additional pass as a spectator.
I believe most of the PPA events, maybe it's half, are free. I know this one, since it was at the USTA National Campus,
bigger venue,
they were charging for day passes. Yes.
Yeah. To me, I mean, I don't know exactly how they handled it. I feel like if you're gonna, completely cancel the bracket, maybe
gotta give them a refund.
Throw a refund or throw them at least a free spectator pass to come watch the pros or something like that. But
right.
Not a fun position to be in. There's a lot of tough decisions, and probably when you're with weather like that, no matter which road you take, you're gonna bother somebody or offend somebody. So not a fun position to be in for those guys.
It's not, for sure. Talking about women's singles, ANYDAY Waters played great. She played our girl Leia Jansen, and I think we can both agree that ANYDAY played extremely well.
Yeah.
I thought Leia played well. She probably did not play her best, but ANYDAY took it, and she took it with some dominance. I'll tell you what, it was pretty short and sweet. What was it, like 6-2 and 4?
Something close to that. I mean, I don't think Leia got more than 6, and it was straights for sure. I think when they played that 5-setter recently was San Clemente. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. ANYDAY, I believe, won the first 2, and then Leia came back and won the next 3. So I'm sure that was in the back of ANYDAY's mind to not let it slip away. And honestly, I think going forward, it's the makings of a great rivalry, which I think women's singles really, of all the events, like women's singles needs that boost a little bit. We want to see more players in there. We want to see the top ladies, take it seriously. I know Leia is. I know ANYDAY is. And so I expect them to meet in a lot more finals. And I know that just conversations I've had with Leia, that definitely lit the fire under her. And she's looking to find another level in her game. And I'm sure ANYDAY will as well. So it's good for the sport. And I know both of us were disappointed. I tried to give Leia some tips before the match, and ANYDAY just played so darn good with her passes early. It was tough to slow her down, but I'm sure there'll be many more big matches like that between those two.
Yeah, and ANYDAY is a great starter. I would say out of all the starters that I've seen play, I think she kind of she really focuses on bringing the energy early, finding her best stuff early, and just like what Kyle mentioned, like in that San Clemente, best of 5. She was up 2-0. She was playing extremely well. I was hoping Orlando was going to go in the same fashion. Leia just wasn't able to kind of bring that little added extra that she needed in Game 3 to kind of push her in Orlando. But in that match in San Clemente, Leia she brought more energy, and she was able to find some of her best stuff in that third game, and which in turn put some pressure on ANYDAY. ANYDAY's level dropped a little bit, and that's where kind of Leia was able to run off with 3 games in a row. And I had this conversation with Kyle before the podcast. I think, with ANYDAY's, not going to say age, but just with how bold she is, with how consistent she is, with how she doesn't feel like a tremendous amount of pressure.
Right.
She's a very good starter, and she can go off and she can have a complete highlight reel. But I think if you make her just for once second guess some of her drops or some of her offense, like Leia did in San Clemente, and she made her second guess some of the offense just by Leia's level being like a notch or two better. In that particular moment, ANYDAY, I think, kind of second guess some of her offense, and which resulted in her level dropping. Leia was able to kind of pick it up, and then she obviously won 3 games in a row. So. I think ANYDAY is just a prime example of somebody who starts really well, and if you can't find some of your best stuff, or if you can't match her level, she will never feel pressure. And
I thought it was kind of funny. I'm watching the live, on Tennis Channel, and they're giving it backstory on ANYDAY, backstory on Leia, and at one point I think they referred to Leia as like the veteran on the scene between the two. And it was funny, Leia and I were talking yesterday about it, and she's like, ANYDAY was already like practically a national champion before Leia had even started really playing pickleball. So it's funny, you forget, because ANYDAY's only 14, like she's been doing this for a bit now.
She has, yeah.
So she actually has quite a bit of experience, which is crazy for a 14-year-old. But I thought that was kind of funny that in that pairing, Leia was the veteran and ANYDAY was new. And it's kind of, you know the history, it's kind of the opposite in a way.
Right, for sure. And then we have the mixed final. Kudos to Rye and Catherine. They got their first mixed Orlando Cup, got their first title together. I know they've been knocking at the door for a couple tournaments now. So happy to see those guys on top of the podium. But what the real story is that Deckel, Barr, and Vivian David, I mean, it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Wasn't even close. It was
He
4
can
and
fly around the court.
It was
he?
4. Did you watch it?
I did.
It was
I did.
4 and 7.
Yeah.
And how creative that man is with his Ernie, and how much he can dictate with the serve and the drive.
Yep.
And then the last little category is how clubby that engage pursuit black magic is. I mean, my oh my, that thing is a thumper. I mean, Deckel obviously is what, 6'6", 6'5", 6'4".
Yeah, at least 6'3", 6'3" to 6'5". I don't think he's 6'6", but
say he's 6'4". Okay, big man. The serve is a bomb. The drive is a bomb. But like, aside from that, how creative he was with dinking out of the air. He like used his inside out dink super well. He was able to slide middle when Ben dinked aggressively back cross court. Deckel did not look unathletic. He was able to get there, played good defense, dinked aggressively, was able to speed up at Simone, and not gonna lie, fluffed his chest up to Ben and shown Ben that he can play some pretty good mixed. And Vivian played great. I mean, aside from Deckel being a big dog, fluffing his chest, letting Ben know who the boss is in that particular match, Vivian did great things on the right.
Yeah, she's still going to play the majority of the balls, right?
For sure.
Always in a mixed pairing. And Deckel maybe planted some seeds of doubt with as active as he was. But yeah, you have to give her credit. That's a lot of grinding with Simone, right? Where you're basically playing a backboard out there.
Used the two-hand counter well when Ben came at her.
Yep. That's not easy to do. Another one of the people who's on the most improved list, I would say, in the last year or so. She's right at the top of that list, especially in her doubles game.
Yeah,
She was a singles, just kind of a singles only player a couple of years ago, and she's really put a lot of time into her doubles game, and it shows.
Not always easy to be consistent as a female when a guy is that active, or when a guy is that big like a Deckel, and he's trying to be active, and he's and you see limbs all around you, right? He's taking balls off your inside foot. You have a limb off of a high ball in the middle. Anyhow, it's tough for a female to really stay organized when a guy is that aggressive, and she played very consistent with the conditions of Deckel just doing a lot out there.
Yeah, we talked about the lob earlier being a play that's starting to be used more. I think part of the reason you're going to continue to see that be used more is as people are getting more active like Deckel and sliding over middle, but still being able to Ernie and cover a lot of court when you go back behind them with a speed up or a dink. Sometimes that lob over the shoulder is a great play that's tough to have covered in addition to the speed up. So as people add more weapons, the patterns are going to get more complicated, and I just think it makes watching matches and devising a game plan for matches so much more fun.
Yeah, it does for sure. Okay, another podcast that I've been watching has nothing to do with pickleball. If you guys follow the Nelk Boys, they're like YouTube creators. Dude named Kyle. It's like him and all of his buddies who make a bunch of prank videos and just a bunch of silly stuff. But they have a podcast. It's now called the Full Send Podcast. They've had like Jake Paul. Full Send, yeah. Full Send. They've had Jake Paul, Dennis Rodman, Dana White, Jordan Belfort.
Okay, so they're a pretty big deal.
Oh, it's, yeah. I mean, it's rated the #1 podcast in the world.
Wow.
And they're getting anywhere from like 4 to 5 million views. Jeez. But Jordan Belfort, I watched it last night. He's the if you've seen the movie Wolf on Wall Street, he is that guy.
He's that guy.
Some of the stories are just insane. How this man is still alive, absurd. But,
I mean, as crazy as the movie was, I think that's all based on like real events.
So I've seen various podcasts with Jordan Belfort. Another one is his episode with Impulsive, Logan Paul's podcast. But anyhow, it's pretty silly. But yeah, if you guys get a chance, if you're looking to watch some more content, Full Send Podcast, #1 podcast in the world. I believe Shaq was just on there too. Anyhow, lots of cool stuff. And if you want to follow somebody else on YouTube, probably it's more for the younger generation, but the Nelk Boys are pretty silly. I would say they're probably like the content kings on YouTube with like silly prank videos.
They got to get you on there. That'd be good for pickleball.
That would be sick. There's another guy named Salim the Dream, and I'm gonna show Kyle the video after this pod episode. But like some of his pranks they're so silly. It's of him like moaning in somebody's ear at like a Walmart. Literally
fully random.
Just like a full moan. And then Salim will the people will be like, dude, like, what are you doing? And Salim like looks at him and he acts like he can't talk.
Right.
I mean,
it's just filming their reactions.
Yeah, it's like live reaction. Some of the feedback is the stuff is absurd. But Salim the Dream, Nelk Boys, but the podcast is called Full Send Pod.
Full Send. I'll remember that
Full
one.
Send. Okay, U.S. Open Finals. Emma and Dani Medvedev. Medvedev, the guy, believed, and he broke once each set and did it 4-4-4.
It's pretty crazy
Boom.
too with tennis, modern tennis with all the top players just having amazing technique, spending decades to develop it. And he has kind of some unorthodox strokes, hits a pretty flat ball,
That's
yet
yucky.
he's kind of a baseline grinder, which usually doesn't kind of go hand in hand. And
guy's a ball striker.
I remember it was the last year or the year before where he was getting booed at the U.S. Open. Used it for fuel.
He did.
Played the bad guy role, and he almost won the Open.
He did.
Last year, I believe. So
he did.
Happy for him, but I think just about everybody felt like Djokovic was going to find a way. That he was going to find a way.
That's what we always think. Joker's going to do Joker things.
Yeah. Even at the end, because I started just watching right at the end, and I think maybe Djokovic broke back. Is
that what happened? Sorry,
he was closing out the match, and he had, I believe, match point. And he served like 2 or 3 double faults in a row because the crowd wouldn't quiet down.
Was he up 2 breaks in the fourth?
He was up double.
Or in the third? Got it.
Third, he was up a double break, and I believe the crowd wouldn't shut up. He looked at the ref, and he's like, all right, I guess I'll serve. And he either double faulted, I think, twice in a row, and then maybe lost, or maybe he double faulted 3 in a row, and then eventually closed it down the next time through. But you're waiting, you're thinking, could this be it? Right?
Exactly.
I've watched enough of Djokovic's finals against Federer.
French Open.
Just the recent one. So you're always wondering, can he do it again? And just credit to Medvedev for shutting the door. But
for sure.
Can you imagine the emotion he's feeling as he double faults that first breakaway? But he held it together.
Yeah, no, for sure. Did you watch the women's match?
I didn't. I just heard it was a pretty gutty performance by a couple of gals that people didn't think were going to be there. So
Emma's from Great Britain. Okay, so Emma Ratajkowski, I could be pronouncing her last name wrong, but she's ranked 150 in the world. She wins 4 matches in qualies, doesn't lose a set, and then wins 7 matches in the main draw, doesn't lose a set. Crazy.
Talk about finding your best stuff at the right moment.
11 matches in a row.
And that's unreal. How deep is the women's game? I mean, to go from 150th and then just take a major. You just don't see that. You don't see that in the men's game in the same way.
Cinderella story on the women's side, that's for sure. You have youngster Leila Fernandez and then Emma Ratajkowski. Is that how you pronounce it? Anyhow, both. I'll butcher it. Yeah. Both youngsters, 18 years old. I think Leila was 19, but couple of new stars in women's tennis. That's for sure. So it was cool to see that. But crazy, 4 matches in qualies, doesn't lose a set. 7 matches in the main draw, doesn't lose a set. Take that.
Speaks to the importance of confidence, major. Right? Yep. When you're confident, it shows what you can pull off. You just expect to win when everything's rolling.
Guess what her total earnings were before she won the U.S. Open? Just take a guess.
Like 20 grand?
No. It was like 320,000.
And how much did she get for winning?
Her whole tennis career.
She got
1.5.
1.5.
Boom.
Pretty good payday.
Come on, take that.
Come on, pickleball.
I want to know what her social media numbers are after 2 weeks at the Open, and all the media, the interviews, and just being seen in that light.
Well, yeah, like you said, the 1.5 million just scratches the surface of what the exposure and all the other money and the sponsors and all the other opportunities that she's going to have now.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, it's something I also want to note here is that Joker. It was kind of cool. To see the crowd be on his side in his post-match interview, and I can't remember what the quote was, but he said that it was more powerful hearing from the U.S. Open crowd that they were like behind him,
right,
than it was to actually win the U.S. Open. Like it was more meaningful for him to know that the fans, after what happened in 2020 and just how the fans have been to him, it was more meaningful to know the fans were behind him for him to actually win.
Yeah, he's had to pull through being not the fan favorite, and you wonder how much that bothers somebody over the years and years, and it's like, well, what do you have to do to be accepted when you're winning that much?
Sure.
So, yeah, I was wondering if that would mean a lot to him, because it was definitely the opposite of what I've remembered his matches being like.
Yeah, I remember watching second set in the finals. He's playing Medvedev, and it was like 2-1 on serve. He had break points to go up 3-1. I think he had a couple. It was like a long deuce game. Anyhow, he ends up losing that game, breaks a racket, and I thought usually when Joker breaks a racket, it like gets him going, and he can find it.
He finds that gear,
and it heads towards the right direction. He wasn't able to. So, but kudos to Medvedev, man. The guy played rock solid. The guy's a shot maker, and just like what you mentioned, technique is so unorthodox, but the guy fights well and absorb pace really well. Takes the backhand super early, rides the baseline to a certain degree.
His body control has to just be on another level with his balance and everything. But talk about earning your first major.
Yeah, and the guy's a mover too, man. Just scrappy. Counter puncher, but can also step in, absorbs pace really well. It's got a goofy looking serve, but any sort of short ball that is short, that is sitting inside the court, gets thumped and flattens it out. The guy's just
both sides.
Yeah, both sides. Yeah, for sure. And in that match, took the backhand up the line a lot. If you saw that, but was able to kind of like he'd go backhand with Joker cross, and then it seemed like he was the first, or he was like the
he was a little more bold.
Yeah, he was a bit more bold and kind of trusted the backhand up the line and really kept Joker honest, and it seemed like he was able to open up the court from there. But
that's been one of what Djokovic usually does to his opponents, right? Yeah. He's able to change direction and kind
take
of play
that two-hander early.
Yep.
Yeah, take it up the line. Who can take the two-hander up the line first?
Got a taste of his own medicine.
Got a little taste. Got a little taste. And that's what the commentators were saying early on, was that in the previous matches, Medvedev just wasn't wasn't trusting changing direction early, or wasn't being aggressive enough with changing direction, and was just maybe being a little too stubborn with his patterns going cross court. And so, you bring the offense and you dictate, and you're able to beat, some of the best players in the world. Crazy. Okay. So APP-ATL, I did not realize this, but, so the Johns boys are playing. So we have the Johns boys in men's. I also saw that, Ben is playing with Lolo in mixed, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's the first time.
See how that duo does.
I'm sure they'll do well.
And I would assume Benny is playing singles as well.
Yeah, so a little bigger purse. This is a $60,000 purse. So a few more of the big names that normally play just the PPA are here. So yeah, it should be some really good teams. So Dylan and JW are kind of my sleeper team to make a podium. But yeah, obviously Ben and Colin be the favorite, but also Pat and Jay will be right there. So yeah, a lot of big names for this one.
Take us through your predictions with the mixed here.
Let me go to mixed here. Let me find that.
Let's see. We have Stone and Carr, Johnson, Stratman, Jansen and Divier, Coop and Navito, Hewitt and Ansbury. Hey, you cannot count out Cassidy and Barr.
No,
I know. You never count them out.
I don't. I've been a fan of both of them. I feel like they bring a lot of intangibles, and like you said, they maximize what they're able to do. They
do, and it's not a team you want to play. It's a team you're going to have to put a lot of balls in play. You're going to have to put a lot of balls away. That 2-ball limit. It's probably going to turn into about 3 or 4 balls when they're back defending, playing good defense.
So I'll take Ben and Lauren, but I like a matchup of Leia and Jay in the finals. That's the top 2, and then why not? I'm gonna go with Cassidy and Susanna sneaking in there for the bronze. Yeah. I mean, there's some other good teams, but I feel like they have a shot for sure.
I like it. So be sure to tune in to APP-ATL this weekend. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, and it'll be on the APP's YouTube channel. I know there's a hurricane right now in Georgia or in Atlanta. So I was looking at some of the posts last night that were made by the referees that were reffing late last night, and they're actually playing at the facility in Griffin that we taught at.
Oh, that's a really nice facility.
It is. There is nothing in that town.
Right, no.
Nothing.
Nothing around it.
God, there's nothing.
But tell me, why there weren't bigger events?
Did you find a casino there?
No, so I've actually, when I used to sell with traveling sales, you don't really find much in the way of casinos in Georgia. I think I found some back alley bar one time. It was super sketchy, but no, not much as far as gambling in the South, at least in Georgia.
But yeah, I was there was a post last night by Ron Ponder, who's a referee, like me some Ron, and Ron was saying, he had left the venue late, and there was those 4 covered courts, remember?
Yeah.
But it was raining so hard that 3 of the covered courts were still pretty wet.
They getting it in from the side.
Yeah, they were able just to use one. So, but anyhow, it's a super nice facility. Kyle and I have taught there. It sounds like it's there's a hurricane taking place in that area, so it's probably going to be rainy and wet, but.
Might be a few rain delays with the coverage, but if they can keep a couple of the courts dry, they had that whatever the surface is that they have above the kind of the metal
covered structure. Structure. So make sure to tune into that. Seahawks got a W this last weekend. Good to see. They're 1-0 so far. So hoping to keep that train moving.
Maybe this is their year.
Maybe this is their year. Sports are back, baby. College football, NFL football. Good to see. Good to see.
It's been a while.
It has. If you guys have not, if there's any Drake lovers out there, 3 songs in particular that I've had on repeat for the last probably 2 weeks since his album came out was No Friends in the Industry is one. Knife Talk is two. And the other is Way Too Sexy. Way Too Sexy. Yeah, if you guys get a chance, definitely check out that album. I've posted a bunch on my stories about songs that I've been listening to. So yeah, Megs due any day here, so we're just kind of patiently waiting. I'm not playing PPA Vegas next weekend. I bowed out. So we're just patiently waiting on this baby boy, waiting for Mac Daddy to get here.
Probably a smart husband choice.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Don't want to be in the doghouse.
No.
Don't want to be in the doghouse.
Not gonna do you any favors.
I don't know. My mom is moving here today, so at some point she's gonna be calling me to have me help her move in.
So your mom's officially.
So my mom and brother, mom and brother from Troy. Yeah, T-Roy. So they're moving from Seattle over to Post Falls, and they're actually going to be at Tullamore.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be right there.
Right there.
Sweet.
Right there. Oh, yeah.
Troy's all about it. His game certainly got a lot better last camp. Troy's got some game.
He does. Yeah. Troy's my stepbrother. He's 42. Pickleball has changed his life. Lost a bunch of weight. Gained some confidence. Started dating around. He wasn't really into dating beforehand. Didn't really socialize, and pickleball is kind of giving him like this new look on life. And
amazing how many stories there are out
it's
there
cool,
like
man,
that.
for sure.
You get healthier, you get more social, you get happier. It just checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people.
It does. So they're driving over today. So I'm waiting on that phone call so I can put my mover hat on and help them move in all their stuff.
Well, that's gonna be awesome. She'll be close to her grandbabies.
Close. Yeah. So she's gonna be close to grandbabies, and then we have an au pair moving in 2 weeks. We got a lot of stuff happening. Baby coming in, mom moving in, bros moving in, and then we have an au pair that should be here in a couple weeks.
No rest for the weary, man. You get home after traveling, and you're back. You're back on.
Yeah. So went from having zero help, Meg kind of doing it, or Meg and I doing it all by ourselves, to now we'll have some family here. We'll have my mom, my brother, and then an au pair. Her name is Bianca. She's from Brazil.
Oh, wow.
And we've talked to her on the phone a couple times, but she's going to be living at our residence here in about 2 weeks. So, Bianca.
Well, congrats. You guys, as much as you guys have going on, any help you can get is probably very needed.
We need help.
You guys bite off a lot.
We do.
That's awesome, though.
Kyle, any last thoughts here for the viewers? Or, hey, if you have an instructional nugget that you want to, or if you want to pass some knowledge, feel free.
Yeah. Mine's just more of kind of a mindset thing. We talk a lot about strategy and, game plan. I would just say, obviously it's important to have a game plan going into a match, and it's important to have a plan B, if you will, as well. But I would say my advice is when you're taking those timeouts, if things aren't going your way, it doesn't automatically mean that you need to switch up what you're doing and throw out the original game plan. I think you want to try your best in those moments to be self-aware and say, well, is this an example of, what I thought would work isn't working? Or am I just simply not executing because of nerves or some other factors? So I think it's important to be willing to change and not be stubborn, but at the same time, make that recognition of if it's just your level's just not there and you know that you're going to find it, maybe don't throw that game plan out, at the first sign of trouble. But it's just something that's helped me. Anything you have, Tyson? Words of wisdom?
Yeah. I think, something that I experienced this last weekend was, I always talk about, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Well, this last weekend, I started okay and I did not finish good. So it was one of those things where I had a hard time really finding my best stuff. And so, it just kind of makes me go back to the drawing board a little bit, makes me maybe reconsider my mindset going in, or just makes me think about why I wasn't able to find some of my best stuff late in those games. And I think what I've kind of come down to is that, like, initially when I got down there, like I really just never quite got comfortable. Never quite got comfortable in practice Tuesday, never quite got comfortable in practice Wednesday. And obviously practiced, singles Tuesday, Wednesday. And something that I'm going to do in the future is that if I'm not quite comfortable Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm not just going to think that like come Thursday I'm going to have it. Like I'm going to probably maybe go back and practice again, or I think the best way to go about it is obviously if I don't practice well Tuesday or if I don't practice well Wednesday morning, go back and just have a later practice. So
kind of end on a good note.
Yeah. End on a good note. But I think I didn't play a whole lot of doubles leading up to the tournament, so that could have played a part as well. I was kind of more focused on singles, but. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just need to get like a double session in Tuesday or Thursday. I just felt a little bit uncomfortable on the court as I was playing. In mixed and in men's, felt much better in singles, obviously. But I think it just comes to show that like when I get down there, I really need to get that double session in just to kind of get some touches. And I mean, honestly, like I spent like 2.5 weeks not playing any doubles because anytime we're home, we really never play doubles. It's always just half court stuff.
It's very rare that we have 4.
Yeah, so it's just kind of tricky. Like I went into the tournament, off of like 2.5 weeks, and I never really even touched the doubles court. And then I show up Friday morning and I play mixed, and I just it just comes to show like the importance of actually getting some touches on the doubles court because I just felt like I just didn't quite have it.
Well, obviously, totally different shots.
No, for sure,
right? So it's completely different types of touches. Each of them help each other, but yeah, at the level that you're expecting to win at, right? You got to have both dialed in. That makes sense.
Yep. So, important note is just to I need to get some touches in. If I don't practice doubles while I'm home for 2 weeks and I'm flying for a tournament on a Monday, and it's that same format where it's singles Thursday, mixed Friday, gender Saturday. On that Tuesday, Thursday, I need to get some doubles touches in. So other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on to the Mcguffin Pickleball Club. We have a camp coming up in Dallas, Texas, directly after the Texas Open. Do it big in Texas. The
Texas style.
The camp is going to be on that Monday, Tuesday after. It's going to be at the same venue that the PPA is hosting the tournament at. K-Mac and I will be doing that camp. And then on that Wednesday, we're flying to OKC, teaching a camp in Oklahoma City at the Chicken and Pickle on that Thursday, Friday. And then flying home that Friday night. So check out the Dallas camp. Check out the OKC camp. And my name is Tyson Mcguffin. This is the Mcguffin Show. See you guys later.
Take care, guys.